The Home Mortgage Law Show is a paid program and is intended as a resource guide for education, information, and entertainment purposes and is not intended to provide specific legal advice. The information that you hear should not be used as a substitute for competent legal advice from a professional attorney. Hiring of an attorney is an important decision which should not be based on advertising or the information that you hear today.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Home Mortgage Law Show, brought to you by the law offices of Morris DuPont. Our phone lines are open. It's toll free to call the show anytime, 2 to 4 every Saturday afternoon. In studio with attorneys Will Morris and Shay DuPont, 866-610-6397. Toll free, 866-610-6397. AT&T Wireless customer star 610. As I say, you may not need the number, but you know somebody who does. It's toll free. The Home Mortgage Law Show is brought to you by the law offices of Morris DuPont. We're also on the web, homemortgagelaw.com, and social media. You can follow us on Twitter and also on Facebook. The Home Mortgage Law Show, sponsored by Morris DuPont, PA. Today, we're also joined by attorney Michelle Hanash, our bankruptcy attorney. And let's get rolling.
Why don't we then?
Yes.
Let's roll.
It's exciting.
We finally have some movement on a Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi's supposed allocation of the funds that Florida homeowners will get. Well,
we're supposed to have gotten for a while now.
Yeah.
The better part of a year.
Yeah. What happened is that the state of Florida has received $300 million from National Mortgage Settlement Funds. $300 million. That is in addition to the $7.5 billion of relief that was already allocated to Florida homeowners from the $25 billion national mortgage settlement. Remember, folks, we've talked about the $25 billion national mortgage settlement that was signed with the top 5 lenders back in March of 2012, just this past year. Now, we also have the $300 million that is also part of settlement funds.
Right.
So now many states around the country have already been spending all these funds and using them to help homeowners in distress.
Well, surprise, Florida's the last one to figure out what they're going to do with it.
Just like our
election.
Yeah.
Last one to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not even sure, Will, that they've figured it out yet.
Right,
it's
exactly.
so undefined. So we have an announcement, big announcement from Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi's office that they are close to deciding how at least the $300 million from the National Mortgage Fund is going to be distributed. But lo and behold, guess where the first $74 million of that money is going to go?
Wait, you mean it's not going to the homeowners?
No.
Huh?
Where do you think it might go?
To the government itself?
There you go.
Really?
State government gets $74 million, and they can spend it any way they want to. Do you think they're going to spend it to help the distressed homeowners in the state of Florida?
Now you're being way too cynical. Of course they are.
No, I don't believe it. And they say they're going to, however they allocate to spend that $74 million of the $300 million that was supposed to be for you folks, they are supposed to do it with transparency and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we will see. Even if they do, so what? They've already decided how to spend it. We're powerless to object to it.
Well, who made the decision for the general government to get the $74 million right off the top?
You know what I think it was, Will?
Huh?
I think it was a negotiation between Pam Bondi and the state legislature. So I think that they were kind of holding the money hostage, and they said, look, the only way we're going to let this money start to be released to these distressed homeowners,
let's get some.
If you give us a piece of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got to line our pockets too. So, basically it's going to help all their little pet programs and fund those programs, and the homeowners are going to be out of the loop on that one. So then of the $226 million that will be left, that is supposed to be used for, as Pam Bondi says, affordable housing development. I don't know how that helps distressed homeowners.
Doesn't.
Neighborhood revitalization.
Doesn't.
I'm not sure how that's going to help it. Foreclosure prevention.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we're getting somewhere.
What that means, I'm not sure.
Well, let's get the right words in there, Shay, at the very least.
Yeah. And homeowner and renter assistance. Again,
Don't know
very
what that means.
innocuous.
Don't know what that means.
Don't know what that means, right? There's no clear program. There's no clear indication from Bondi's office how exactly they're going to use the $226 million of funds that they're set to supposedly distribute, much less
Right.
the $7.5 billion that we're supposed to get from the mortgage settlement.
That's going to be another fiasco.
Well, we need some accountability, and we need to know exactly what programs they plan on setting up. Remember, we had that Florida mediation program
Mm-hmm.
that was to help homeowners who were in default and were at risk of foreclosure with their lender or were in foreclosure with their lender. And the Florida Supreme Court mandated that each Florida homeowner had the right to mediation with the lender, and the lender had to have a authorized representative available at the mediation who could settle the foreclosure case and resolve it right there and then.
Well, that went by the wayside because of funding, right?
Well, it went by the wayside because of funding and also because they received reports from around the state from the different mediation centers of how many of the mediations were settled at mediation, and there weren't that many that were settled at mediation, so they took it as, well, this program isn't very successful, it's costing lots of money, we really don't have it in the budget, so we're going to cancel this program.
Let me guess, Shay. Do you think that was the right decision to make?
Wrong.
Okay. And why is
You
that?
know that because
I know. Wait a
last
minute.
year I was going crazy
Okay.
because what happened in the mediations, and believe me, I do these mediations all the time. I did one yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and it resulted in an impasse. They usually result in an impasse, but that doesn't mean they're not successful down the road. We go to the mediation. We have already submitted a loan modification or short sale application prior to the mediation. We go through all of the paperwork at the mediation, and the lender rep, typically on the phone, says, all right, I will have an answer for you within 30 to 40 days. And I go back to the office, I discuss it with the loan mod department, the short sale department, they follow up, and normally we get great success from the mediations. But at the end of the mediation, as in yesterday, it was reported as no agreement reached.
So it's a wrong way of reading the results of the mediation. Just to simply look at what happens at the close of it, because most cases you're telling me settle 30, 40 days after that.
Exactly. I've always said mediation is a great way to move these cases forward towards settlement.
Right.
So even though at the actual 2-hour mediation, we might not reach an agreement right then and there, we are probably going to reach an agreement. I know what the red flags are.
Right.
I know what they want corrected. Yesterday, it was an address on a tax return listed as the accountant's address and not my client's address. They wanted that changed. I mean, it's easy. So, I'm only wishful that something good is going to come out of the distribution of these funds.
Coming up after the break, we're going to hit the phones, or we're already starting to see some calls coming in so early. It's the Home Mortgage Law Show, 1-800-974-2712. Great opportunity. Book your free consultation. You won't regret it. 1-800-974-2712. More of the Home Mortgage Law Show coming up after this. You're listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show, brought to you by the law offices of Morris DuPont. Our phone lines are open, toll free. Talk to the expert attorneys Will Morris, Shay DuPont, joined by Michelle Hanash, our bankruptcy attorney. It's 866-610-6397. 866-610-6397. AT&T Wireless customers, star 610.
There we go. We're going to go to the phones, right?
Yep. Dawn, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dawn.
Oh, yes. How are you? I have a question for you. It's a little bit different scenario. Basically, it's a condo where the association foreclosed on me back in 2010 for back maintenance fees, and then they put a renter in there. And in 2011, I filed bankruptcy and put the condo in there. And now the bank has come back to me and said, hey, they basically want to give me the first mortgage back where it's been worked out. But the question is, as they're trying to explain to the bank, how do I get the HOA to put the condo back in my name? It's a little bit complicated.
So the HOA sold the property, took title to it, and then rented it out to a third party. Well,
no. Who knows if the HOA sold the property? The HOA took title to the property through their own foreclosure.
Right, they did.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. They had to sell it at a foreclosure sale.
Yeah,
and bought it back themselves.
Oh.
Right.
The certificate of sale was issued back in 2010, but just to the association and the condo attorney.
Right. Well, it seems to me that the only way to get title back from the association is to pay them what you owe them.
Well, I'm thinking that since they've been renting it out for a little bit over 2 years, they're paid in full.
Maybe they have, and maybe that's a good point. Maybe you need to get an accounting to figure out how much money they collected and see whether or not there's an offset against the amount of money you owe, and even if there's the surplus. And at that point, you'd have to negotiate with them. But they're in the driver's seat. If they're asking you, if you want to give them, if you want them to give you the title back, you're pretty much at their price. Whatever they want to ask you for, that's what you'll have to give.
I see. Because I'm trying to explain to the bank before I start making payments again, I need to get it back in my name. And
right. I would approach the association and see, maybe ask for an accounting and figure out, how much money was paid from the renter and how much money you owed, and see if you can negotiate with them to get the title back. Otherwise, you're still on the hook with regards to the mortgage, even though the association now has title.
He said he filed a bankruptcy, so this sounds very messy to me. This
no,
procedure.
He's still on the hook for the bank. I mean, as far as the property goes.
They offered me a great deal to take it back. I see. So I can't force them then to take it back. No.
No. They've gone through a foreclosure sale and bought the property and took title to it, subject to the first mortgage.
Okay, I see.
So, Will,
I see.
Why in the world would the HOA ever negotiate with Don? They've got they're the title holder to the property.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Why would they?
Well, maybe they don't want to pay the first mortgage.
Well, no. So what do they care when the first mortgage decides to foreclose? They've gotten their money.
Right.
They've got a renter in there, and however long the foreclosure proceedings take, they're going to continue collecting rent.
Yeah, like Will said, they're in the power position. They've got the upper hand in any negotiation. Sure. They don't owe Don an accounting of what they have received in rent.
In fact, they're not responding to me. I've called and wrote letters. They're not responding at all.
Well, it seems to me the only way you get that accounting is to sue them.
But under what basis?
On the basis that, look, my name is still on the title, right?
No.
Not on the title. I'm still responsible for the mortgage
But if
itself.
he surrendered the property in the bankruptcy, his personal liability would have been extinguished.
Even though his personal liability may have been extinguished, as far as the bank is concerned, he's the guy. And the property is subject to it, and he's the guy behind the property. So now, what he does, he sues the association and see if he can't get an accounting based on the fact that they have now been paid probably more than enough to cover the indebtedness that allowed them to get title in the first place. Look, I'm reaching here. What can I tell you? I'm trying to come up with something here.
Good try, Will, but I wouldn't take that case.
They keep the bank keeps calling me and wants to know if I want to start making payments on all this, and I'm trying to explain to them.
Why would you?
I don't. I'd love to, but I'd rather get this thing worked out where it's back in my name, and they don't seem to have any idea how to do it.
Well, unless you've got a really good relationship with the association, it seems to me that you're in a tough position.
I don't.
And if he's no longer personally liable on that mortgage, there could be issues there of
reaffirming the debt.
Yeah, and how you would do that, or if you would want to do that. I'm assuming the property was underwater.
Yeah, by a lot. Yes,
I mean, none of this sounds like a good idea.
I think it's a lost cause.
I think we've all come to the conclusion: get yourself another house, another condo.
I'm with you. Okay. Just let it go. I guess that's what I'll. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just let them know.
I mean, what are you fighting for?
Nothing, because there'd be no equity even at the price they give it back to me. There's nothing there.
Bingo.
Right, there you go.
Yeah.
I was trying to find a lawsuit, Chick. Come on.
He's the litigator. I'm the negotiator.
Well, that really helps me out, and I really appreciate your help. Thank you very much.
Hey,
Sorry.
my pleasure. There you go.
Sorry, it's not a better outcome. We keep telling people, if you've defaulted on your mortgage payments, if you are unable to meet your monthly financial obligations, and you've got to let something go, Do not have it be the homeowners association fees, folks, because if you default on your homeowners association fees, your homeowners association, like they did to Don, they can file a foreclosure action against you, and they can foreclose on the property and take title to the property, kick you out,
Right.
and now they own the property. Of course, it's subject to any mortgages that you have on it. So if they ever sold that property to a third party, they would have to first get those mortgages satisfied. But they have control of the property. They do with it as they please. They can put a tenant in there. They can get income.
Sure.
And it's none of your business. You have no rights to that property anymore. All you have is a debt obligation on that mortgage that you signed, that and the note that you signed that it resulted in a mortgage on that
Absolutely.
property.
And the caveat to that is for people who are looking to buy properties, particularly condos, be careful buying properties at condo association foreclosure sales, because guess what? That mortgage is still lurking out there. How many people have come to the office? Wait a minute. We bought this property. We paid $10,000 for it. And now there's a mortgage on it. Of course. And guess what? When you pay that $10,000, the association says, thank you very much, pockets it, and they go about their business. And you're on the hook to decide what you're going to do with the first mortgage.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because on our Facebook page for the Home Mortgage Law Show, sponsored by Morris DuPont, there was a commenter on there, or it might have been a private message. I'm not sure
No,
which.
it was a commenter from Miami-Dade County Foreclosure, something like that.
Miami-Dade-foreclosures.com.
Right.
Yeah, another. I went and liked their Facebook page. I went and checked it out. It looked interesting. So they made a comment
Right.
because we had a caller call, maybe it was a week ago or something, saying they'd bought a property at a foreclosure auction, and lo and behold, there was another lien on it, and we were like, oh yeah,
And they suggested you do a pencil search, you do your homework, your due diligence, because you might be paying $10,000. Sounds like a great deal, but you know what they say about great deals? When it sounds too good to be true, it probably isn't true, because you still got that first mortgage sitting out there.
Yeah, big problem.
We have about a minute. Steve?
Hi, Steve.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure, thanks for listening to the show.
Yeah, I had a question I'm actually not too sure about. I was talking to my neighbor 2 or 3 nights ago, and they were going through their mortgage papers trying to find something about MERS or something. I don't know if that's the
MERS.
acronym or that's
Yeah.
the
MERS.
Yeah, I think that
MERS.
was it.
The Mortgage
They were-
Electronic Registration System.
Okay, that sounds right.
Yep.
They were saying something. There's lawsuits going on. I don't know if it was just part of the foreclosure stuff or. He was saying that, and she was saying that people are suing because of titles or something, or
Well, here's what's going on.
Boy, that'll take more than a minute to answer.
Yeah, you know what? Just hold on after the break.
MERS, the Mortgage
Electronic
Electronic Registration
Registration
System,
Right.
has been the subject
Okay.
of so much controversy. There's so many lawsuits.
Right.
Our answer could be different depending on the day,
Exactly.
because so many judges around the
It'll
country.
come out differently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
they're
just
all over the
last
place.
week-
oh, okay.
Yeah,
I never heard of anything. I never heard that word or acronym or anything before. I
Well-
was wondering if that was recent or that was mixed up in all the foreclosure stuff going on.
It is kind of mixed up, and it's not so recent. And this MERS was put together so that they can, make mortgages more marketable without having to go through the local county,
The banks?
local county the county's office to register mortgages every time they get transferred. And there's lawsuits from counties regarding loss of fees they've lost because of this registration system. There's lawsuits regarding whether MERS has the right to foreclose. There's lawsuits all over the place with regards to MERS.
yeah. So what?
Oh, okay.
Do we have time to? Okay, so
30 seconds.
MERS was created because every time that you transfer title to a property, ownership of a property with a county, you have to pay a fee.
Right.
And there is a process involved, and it takes
It
some
takes
amount of
time.
time because it's not done electronically. So the lenders got together, smart that they are,
Smart guys.
and they said, "Oh, okay, we will just register the name. We will just register the property as being owned by MERS
And then the mortgage can be treated like a share of stock in a company.
within it."
Yeah.
So when we come back, we'll give you a couple of hints about what's the status of MERS today.
You're listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show, brought to you by the law offices of Morris DuPont. 800-974-2712. That's the number to call for your free consultation. More of the show after this. You're listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show, brought to you by the law offices of Morris DuPont. Attorneys Will Morris, Shay DuPont, and Michelle Hanash, our bankruptcy attorney, in the house. Always with you on a Saturday afternoon from 2 to 4 on our flagship station, News Radio 610 WIOD. And in the Tampa, St. Petersburg area, it is 970 WFLA. And we're taking calls. Kim, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Well, what can we do for you today?
Okay. This started back in 2000, the end of 2008, and we tried to negotiate with the bank. At the time, we had property that we paid at the high of the season. It was worth about $430,000. Once it flipped over, it was worth about $200. We tried to short sale it. The bank said absolutely not, and then the bank would not talk with us. We tried to do a loan modification. They would not do it. We were paying them intimately without working out of our savings, $4,000 a month for over a year. And then finally, we couldn't do it anymore. So we went to a bankruptcy lawyer and we filed bankruptcy. So the bankruptcy went through at the beginning of 2010. And so anyway, we went through and we thought it was finished. So anyway, 2 months later, we started getting letters from the city saying that now we're responsible for all the property and maintaining it and the pool, and we were getting letters and getting fined $200 a day. So we called their lawyers, and the bank still didn't want to talk to us, so they wrote us back a letter saying that we were responsible for the property. And the lawyer said, once they take the property over, the bank's going to have to pay for this. Now, it's 2012. The bank has not taken over the property. About 3 weeks ago, I got a letter from the city stating now that there's illegal business being operated out of the home. And I was like, well, who's in the home? Bank knows nothing about it. Now, there's people living in the home. They've been living there for a year. They have a fictitious lease with our name signed on the bottom saying they're sending us rent. And the bank won't do anything about it. They don't care.
This is crazy.
We called them. We told them the whole situation. They don't care. They said it's not their responsibility, and until they sign it over, but because it's a matter of record, we've talked to the Broward County Sheriff's Department that now they want us to go down and evict them. And, they've broken into the house. They're fraudulently using.
Well, I don't know that they broke into the house.
They just walked in the front door.
Someone purporting to be you could have rented it to them.
Yeah,
but Kim, let's be clear, and then we're going to ask Michelle to chime in, or we're going to ask Will to chime in. Let's be clear what happens when you get a mortgage on a property. You go to a lender and you go, I want to borrow $430,000.
Right.
And the lender says, well, we don't know you that well. So in order for us to lend you $430,000, we would need to get a security interest in something that you own that's worth $430,000. And you go, well, you know what? Coincidentally, you know what I'm going to do with that $430,000? I'm going to buy a home with that money, and it's worth $430,000. So the lender goes, all right, we'll take a security interest in that home. So everybody agrees. So you sit down and you sign a note, which is an IOU, a contract to borrow $430,000. And you signed a mortgage, which is the evidence of the security lien that the bank has in your property. It's not like buying a car where you don't get the title till you make all the payments. You own that property, and it has a mortgage of $430,000 on the property. Once you went through bankruptcy, things changed regarding the note, but nothing changed regarding the title to the property. You are still the homeowner until the lender forecloses on that property and takes title to it, which you're telling us they have yet to do. So you continue to remain the title holder to the property. You continue to remain liable for anything that happens on that property, including county liens, state liens, local liens, and if anyone is injured, and if anyone is operating an illegal business out of there. So Michelle, through her bankruptcy, I don't know if it was a 7 or 13.
Sounds like it was a 7.
You could probably explain to Kim exactly what that resulted in for her, which has gotten her to the place she's at today.
Right. So there is a takeaway from this that you can see how long the process can take to foreclose on a property for the bank to take back that title. So through the bankruptcy, as Shay was saying, you do not lose title to the property. There has to be another process that occurs, like a foreclosure, or if the bank will agree to take back title. So unless that happens, you do remain on the title, and you could have remained in that property for this
Absolutely.
past year waiting for the bank to foreclose, or however long it will take the bank to foreclose. Maybe they have issues, and that's why they're not foreclosing. So who knows how long you could have potentially been able to stay in the house waiting for the bank.
And that goes back to what we used.
So to mail them, which we have, and they have record of, to give them the deed in lieu of foreclosure.
But they have
We
to
did
accept that
Right,
deed,
right.
and that's really a hot topic in a sense in bankruptcy, which is how can you possibly force the bank to take title to the property when a debtor has surrendered it. So it's important to be aware of that when you're entering into the bankruptcy process. Not only are you still liable if, let's say, there's an accident on the property, but post-petition homeowners association dues. So you still have those trappings of title to the property, although you're no longer liable to the bank on the note.
And this is what we were saying from in the very
Yep.
beginning of this show. The one thing you don't want to do is to simply walk away, because you wind up with just these type of issues.
Yep.
You're still on title. You're still responsible for the cleanup. You're still responsible for everything that goes on in that house until and unless title gets transferred from you to a third party or to the bank.
And I don't know if there's something creative there.
There
you know,
might
that the
be.
bank
What
hasn't
was creative?
mitigated.
I mean, what do I do? Now go the victim and move back in until the bank starts to take it over? I mean, I just don't know how to be creative.
Well,
All I know
that's
is maybe they sold the loan and they don't want it to some third party, and now they don't have any right to come in.
maybe they don't. And
It's
the
gonna
one
go on forever.
and the one way, you're right, the one way of protecting yourself is to be in possession of it, just so you can make sure that nobody else is squatting on it and conducting illegal activities. That's one way of doing it.
Okay.
At the
Well,
very
I
least,
mean,
you could
I
have been
just
at
don't
the
know.
very least, Kim. It could have been a source of income for you after you're discharged from the bankruptcy, because you could have been the landlord. You could have been renting it out
Well, I didn't
until.
think that was legal. I mean, to me, once you foreclose and you hand over they've sent us letters saying you need to vacate the property, and then there was a lock put on the front door. I thought
Well, wait a minute.
If they forced you out,
did they
then I
foreclose?
think
My understanding is they
out.
didn't.
Pardon me?
Did they foreclose against the property? My understanding.
don't
When
think
I
they did.
went, I had moved out of the county. When I went back there about 3 weeks later, they had put padlocks on the doors,
I've
so
seen
it was
that before.
impossible.
Yeah,
to
that
get
doesn't
into the
necessarily
house.
mean that if they're foreclosed on it.
Yeah, I've had
No,
I've
they
had
did not
I've had to
foreclose
have somebody go over there with bolt cutters and cut
Right.
some of those
I
locks
mean,
off
maybe
or
there
undo
could be a
the knob.
defense against, the bank
It could be, but
to force the bank to
look,
assume.
the other way of looking at it, if she abandoned the property, then the bank was probably saying, "Look, we have a right to protect our interests."
Mm-hmm. That's
You know,
Yep. You've got some real issues here, Kim, and I just want to say to all the listeners out there, this is one of the many, many, many reasons that you want to have competent legal counsel representing you. Kim
And that's
could
why I wanted to call. Who do I call?
you call us, and the number to call us to schedule an appointment is 800
Okay.
974
Mhm.
2712.
Okay.
And you can schedule an appointment with one of us, and I will look online. I will see if a foreclosure was done. I will look online and see about these liens. We will, see what can still be done. We can certainly evict the tenant that's in there now, get them the heck out of there, and either get you back in the property or get another tenant in the property. We can negotiate a deed in lieu of foreclosure with the bank. Who is the lender?
The lender's J.P. Morgan. It was Chase. It
Oh
was
my God,
originally
Chase is easy to
EMC.
deal with.
It was EMC, and Chase will not take any of the calls. They don't care. We have contacted them for 2 years now. They just don't.
Well, I think you're going to see a big, big, big difference when you have competent legal counsel helping you through this process, how quickly things can be resolved, what a multitude of options you actually have, what rights you have, and what liabilities you continue to be exposed to because of being continuing to be the title owner to this property. So
these people actually, the police were there yesterday, actually when these people were in the house, they were saying they had a lease with our names, my husband's and
I'm
my
sure.
name,
yeah, sure.
they were forged on the bottom of
Of
it.
course.
Of course they were.
Some clever person figured out who the title owner
Kim,
was.
we've got to
Okay, oh,
go. Call us at the office, and we'll go through it with you. Sorry for your misfortune there.
You're listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show. The number that Kim's going to call and that you should call too, 1-800-974-2712. 1-800-974-2712. More calls and more of the Home Mortgage Law Show right after this break. You're listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show, brought to you by the law offices of Morris DuPont. Attorneys Will Morris, Shay DuPont, Michelle Hanage, our bankruptcy attorney, all in the house for you, answering your questions, your concerns, your doubts. That's what they're here for, the law offices of Morris DuPont. So if you can hear the show, guaranteed there is an office near you. Our phone lines are open. It's toll free, 866-610-6397, 866-610-6397. AT&T Wireless customer star 610 up in the Tampa area, down in South Florida, everywhere. You guys are rocking.
Well,
There you go.
if they can hear our voice, there's an office nearby. We have an office in St. Petersburg, Tampa West Shore, Tampa Rocky Point, Dadeland, Doral, Plantation, Fort Lauderdale, Aventura, Boca Raton, and West Palm Beach. And I'm going to be
You're taking a little road trip.
I am. I'm driving this time. I'm going to, because I'm spending so much time over in the St. Pete office now. I'm actually taking my car over, and I'm going to spend the whole week over there. I think I only have like 2 or 3 more slots open. I think I've got a Wednesday at 3:00 and a couple others. But I'm
you also have a seminar.
I am. I'm working with Pam Marin, as you know, on the underwater homeowner seminar, and that is going to be tomorrow evening in Odessa. We've posted information on the seminar on the website. It's from 6 to 8 tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to talking about
Tomorrow, Sunday?
Monday night. It's on Monday night. I'm going to be talking about dual tracking, which is when the lender forecloses even when you have an active loss mitigation file there with the lender, when they're not allowed to do that. Yet the lender does it all the time.
All the time.
That's one of the subjects I'm going to be talking about in the actual seminar. So that's on Monday night in Odessa. The information is posted on our website. And you can go to closewithpam.com, and get more information on the seminar. It's to help underwater homeowners, and especially those that are considering a short sale. So she's got a lot of people speaking at the seminar. I'm looking forward to participating and honored to do so. But I'm going to be there the rest of the week.
I was going to say that. I'm surprised we don't have an office in Tarpon Springs yet. I think that's the next one on the agenda.
I just might schedule people to meet with me at Mykonos restaurant
right.
so that I could just eat
We
Greek
might-
food all day and all night long.
We might never see her down here again.
Yeah,
I like that
I'm a big
idea.
fan. I'm a big fan of the Greek food. I like going up to Tarpon Springs. So looking forward to being in the St. Pete office all next week, and as well as I'm going to be in West Shore, I think, on Monday, and the Rocky Point office. So I always love going over there and meeting with clients. That's what I'll be doing a lot of. So looking forward to that trip. I did want to touch on a couple of things that happened in the last call that we had. We had Kim on the phone with us, who was unable to negotiate any sort of loss mitigation workout with her lender, Chase. And so she ended up filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, went through the bankruptcy, included the property. So she got a release of personal liability on the note, but she was still the title holder to the property.
And she
And
assumed.
normally that's a
right.
good thing.
Right, sure. If she
If
stayed.
you're aware of that.
It would have been a great thing if she'd stayed.
Well, I'm a little frustrated, and Michelle, you've heard me talk about this frustration, and with all due respect to bankruptcy attorneys, but you know I get frustrated because I'm concerned with people who go and meet with bankruptcy attorneys when they are a homeowner in distress. And the bankruptcy attorney really doesn't explain the whole process to them, and the bankruptcy attorney resolves
Only the bankruptcy.
one of their
Right,
issues,
right.
and that is personal liability on the note. But guess what? There's 6 other issues out there that the bankruptcy attorney does not only does not resolve for them, but doesn't even know how to explain to the homeowner what is going to happen to the property going forward and what their options are going forward. Kim could have been living in this property
Absolutely.
since 2010
Or at least getting some income out of it.
or renting it herself.
Right.
I mean, that could have been huge for her, absolutely huge. And she didn't know that she had these options. Maybe she didn't even have to file Chapter 7. She didn't really know. I don't know why she was denied, if she was ever properly processed for a loan modification or explained about, gee, now that you've been released of personal liability, Kim, now you should short sale the property, and a short sale application would have to be submitted. Again, the proper deed in lieu done.
Well, you see, not every bankruptcy lawyer has a loan modification person right down the hall, a foreclosure litigation person right down the hall that could call into a consultation, and let's look at the big picture and tell the client every option they have available to them. If Kim had come to us, she would have known these things. She would have still been in that house. She wouldn't have had the responsibility of having
she would have known because I would
squatter
have
in her house.
explained it to her.
Well,
but,
that's true too.
But the thing is that we weren't in that consultation. I'm
Yeah.
always defending the unknown bankruptcy attorney.
Well, not to bash bankruptcy
that
lawyers.
could have
but-
been stated to her, and there's a lot of information coming at you sometimes.
Yeah,
in
but then
these
there's a
meetings that you
follow-up.
don't-
I mean,
right.
it doesn't end when the bankruptcy is over.
Well, it certainly seems that way with most bankruptcy
Right.
attorneys. Try to call your bankruptcy attorney once you've been discharged.
Right, his job
You
is
know,
done.
How many times have we had people come in and say, I can't get a hold of my bankruptcy attorney. He's not answering my calls.
Work is done.
Because to me, it's a big picture issue, and the bankruptcy attorneys seem to me to be looking at it as a very narrow issue. In and out of bankruptcy. Discharge, I'm done. And I think you should go ahead, charge more if
Right.
that's what it is, but solve the client's entire problem.
Well, it's not up to the bankruptcy attorneys always to be setting the fees. It's really regulated, and it's a topic of conversation to potentially be had. But
But this is outside. All right. Michelle is defending the bankruptcy bar.
but this is really a relatively new phenomenon where the banks are not foreclosing on the property. So for however many years people have been filing bankruptcies, when you surrendered the house, the bank would normally come in, foreclose on the property, and take title.
Right.
This has just happened in the last 5 years, let's say. So it's new to everyone, and probably a lot of bankruptcy attorneys, probably a lot of old school bankruptcy attorneys who've been practicing for a very long time didn't expect this to happen.
Well, I'm sorry, once they expected it, once they saw that it was happening, I think that there's more needed to
Right.
help these people who are going into bankruptcy or considering bankruptcy because of issues with their property.
The solution: go to a full-service law firm.
I agree.
Right.
And
But-
give us a call.
And
There you
to
go.
point something out, if you are in a Chapter 7 and the property is no longer your home and you're renting it out, it's very possible the trustee would take over that property to collect the rents. So we have to be careful inside the bankruptcy process. Obviously, once you've been discharged, the bankruptcy's over. It's another situation. But within the bankruptcy, your home, you can protect it. But the investment property, if you're renting it only in a Chapter 7, it's a whole nother ballgame.
I understand,
Sure.
but you stay in the property till the bankruptcy is over. Once you're discharged, you decide to either stay there or you can rent, and then it's none of the trustee's business because you've already been discharged.
Right.
So all these issues really could be explained. So anyone out there who is contemplating bankruptcy, anyone out there who is looking for help with because they are having issues with their property, with their mortgage, they can't meet their monthly financial obligations, you're considering bankruptcy, for goodness sakes, give us a call. A full-service law firm, bankruptcy, foreclosure defense, loan modification, short sale, debt restoration, debt settlement. Find out what your options are by giving the law firm of Morris DuPont a call. 800-974-2712. Don't worry if you're in your car. You don't have to write that number down. Remember this website, homemortgagelaw.com. homemortgagelaw.com, that's our website. Go to the website. There's the number there. You can also type in and get an appointment scheduled by typing in through the website contact information, and we will contact you back and schedule you an appointment for you. St. Petersburg, Tampa West Shore, Tampa Rocky Point, Dadeland, Doral, Plantation, Aventura, Boca Raton, West Palm Beach. If you can hear our voice, there is an office nearby. Do not wait until it's too late. Give us a call. We'd be happy to do a free consultation with you and go through your options with you so you don't end up like that last caller.
And just checking our Facebook page just now, just about a second ago, Anton Jorgensen says that the show is very informative and he's very thankful.
I appreciate that,
thank you.
Anton.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much. We
So there
try.
you go.
We really try to get you the information that you need. You talk to your neighbor. You talk to a coworker. You hear different things. You look on these blogs on the internet. We try to give you the facts, the straight information, the most updated information as it relates to your home mortgage.
And we've got lots of calls to get to. Clifton, Claire, Nancy, Jeff, all of you. We're going to get to you, I promise, right after the break here on the Home Mortgage Law Show. It's 1-800-974-2712. That's the free consultation. That is the number that you need to dial while we go on break. 1-800-974-2712. More of the Home Mortgage Law Show and calls coming up after this.